So here the poet Wordsworth defines who is a poet. A poet is a man speaking to men, and then the poet says that a good poet should be, Wordsworth says that a good poet should be a good observer of life, and he should have an excellent memory. That is, what he observes should be recollected in his sensitive mind. And then he should contemplate over what he has recollected. And then an imaginative excitement happens, and the poet will be forced to compose the poem, and then only he will be relieved of this excitement. And again, a good poet, he will console the suffering people. He will make the happy people happier. He will enable the young and the old to see, think, and to feel. And a good poet binds everything together with love and passion. A good poet has the talent to make ordinary things extraordinary. He should feel even the absent pleasure, and he should avoid elaborate diction, and he should use only the common language of the people. And so here it's very important, Wordsworth's definition of the poet. Poet as a man speaking to men, then he is endowed with greater sensibility and sensitivity. He should be a good observer of life, and whatever he observes should be recollected in his sensitive mind. A good poet should have excellent memory. A good poet should use the ordinary language of common man to write poems, and he should be able to make ordinary things appear extraordinary. He should have the ability to make ordinary things unusually beautiful. And so I am just summing up the points which we have already discussed in the beginning. And so these are important points. That is why in the order in which it is written, I repeat it again. And here again he says that what is more, he is gifted with rich imaginative faculty, so that he can identify himself with the experience of others or with the experiences he conjures up. That is, he also says that a good poet should have an empathetic understanding of the people around him. Then other people's experiences will become his experiences. Understood? And so empathetic understanding also is essential for a good poet. If only you have the empathetic understanding, the neighbor's joy and suffering will become your joys and sufferings. In this task of delighting man, no language seems more appropriate than the language really used by men. And then again, the next point, he says that poetry sheds no tears such as angels weep. This is an attack on neoclassical poetry, because neoclassical poets believed that poets are of a superior stuff, and prose is inferior to poetry. I have discussed this point also earlier. But Wordsworth says that between good poetry and good prose there is no difference. In good prose, the best lines are in the verse form, are poetic lines, and in good poems, the best lines are written in prose. Thomas Gray's poem is quoted as an example. And so the simple meaning is that there is no difference between good prose and good poetry. See, a good prose and good poetry both should convey to the reader what the writer means, and the reader should get entertained by reading the work. That is of primary importance. And if meter is there, it adds to the pleasure. But meter is not essential for poetry according to Wordsworth. And so this point also we have discussed. Between good prose and poetry, there is no difference at all. And then finally, once again, he defines poetry as he defines prose. That also we have discussed. That is, poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. It takes its origin from emotion recollected in tranquility. He says that the recollected emotions produce a highly excited condition of the mind, which compels composition. See, definition of the poet is important. Similarly, definition of poetry also is important. According to Wordsworth, poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. It takes its origin from emotion recollected in tranquility. In this context, I point out to you, see, about what I have said about the poetic process. I told you poetic process has 4 steps. 1, observation. A good poet, a good observer. Observation is the first part. What he observed will be recollected in the sensitive mind of the poet. Second part. Then the poet will contemplate over what is recollected. It leads to an imaginative excitement, and the poet gets emotionally excited. And he will be free from this excitement only when he composes the poem. And so, in a tranquil atmosphere, the poet composes the poem. And so, this is the poetic process. And so, this is explained again by the poet. And one more line is there. Poetry is the breath and finer spirit of all knowledge. It is the impassioned expression which is in the countenance of all signs. Here again, poetry, Wordsworth places poetry above science, above history, above philosophy. He says that before a historian and a philosopher and a scientist, there are a lot of obstacles. A historian cannot use his imagination. Whatever he writes should be historically true. Lot of obstacles are there. A scientist should prove what he had found out. Lot of obstacles are there. But for the poet, only one purpose is to be served. Good poetry should give information and delight to the reader. A good poem should give a good message to the reader, and the reader should get lot of pleasure. This is the only condition. Again, Wordsworth says that the scientist makes a surface study of things, but the poet goes deep into the human psyche. And again, you will see a fusion of the head and the heart, emotion and intellect in poetry. And so this is the last point that he discusses. Just as he discusses who is a poet, he discusses what is poetry. Poetic process, I explained the fourfold process, the 4 stages: observation, contemplation, and so on. And then he says that poetry he makes a comparison between poetry, science, history, philosophy, etc. He says that before the poet, only one purpose is to be served. What the poet writes should give information and pleasure to the reader. But for the historian, for the philosopher, for the scientist, there are a lot of conditions and obstacles before them to be faced. And then he says that a scientist usually makes a surface study of things, but the poetry goes deep into the heart. And in a good poem, you will see a fusion of the head and the heart, a fusion of intellect and emotion, beautifully presented. And here ends the discussion of the preface. Hope you have followed the text and the discussion. And we will wind up for the day. Thank you.